Run It Studios is the home of the Run Radio podcast and runradio.net, a podcast and station about the relentless, resilient, and innovative types, inspiring strides in life, business, and beyond. Welcome back to the Run Radio podcast. My name's Trina Wilcox, and we definitely talk about running on the Run Radio podcast. We talk about people who are all about resilience and also innovative people, entrepreneurs. And one of the things we all do is promote on social media, and you see things like delicious cookies that someone shared. So I thought, what is dirty dough? So I went down the rabbit hole and it led me to our guest, Bennett Maxwell. Welcome.
Thank you, Trina. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So tell me about dirty dough. What is it? It's a unique kind of cookie.
Yeah, we do gourmet stuffed cookies, a few other desserts as well. There's this big cookie, fad going on right now. Dirty Dough is an existing company that I invested in. It started just out of an apartment complex or out of some apartments at ASU, Arizona State University. This guy was selling out of cookies. He said, I need an investor to open up the first store, which is when I came in. That was like 2019. By the end of 2021, the end of 2020, he wanted to sell. He's still just that one existing location. I'd never made cookies. I think I'd been to the store maybe once or twice. But I decided to, roll the dice and buy Dirty Dough with the intent of franchising it. So we franchised at the end of 2021, started opening stores mid kind of 2022. So 2 years later from opening the first store, I think we have 65 stores open. We have another 15 mobile trailers, and we've sold, over 400 franchise territories. So we're opening up 1 or 2 stores a week right now, sometimes 3, and it's getting into the thick of things.
Yeah, that's overwhelming, but it seems like you're having a great response.
People like cookies. I mean,
you look
at the, just looking at pictures of cookies, and we do 3-layer cookies. So like you look at a cookie, it's a peanut butter dough on the outside with a chocolate dough in the middle with an injection of hot fudge, so like that specific cookie is the reverse. So it's like a Reese's chocolate, but in reverse, with the peanut butter on the outside. So very unique. It's all centrally produced. So we could control quality as well as keep labor down. When you're comparing it to competition, it's kind of like a Crumble where they do everything at every single location. So we're shipping out these pre-portioned cookie dough pucks to franchisees all across the nation, and all they have to do is pop them in the oven and press start. So the ovens are programmed, and all the cookies have been formulated to cook for the same time, temperature, and fan speed. So we're really going for simplicity with our model. And so far it's been hectic, but here we are.
Yeah. What are some of the growing pains that you've had throughout the short time that you've been taking this on? And I mean, maybe you've had to kind of pivot things. What's the pits and peaks of it all?
Yes, man, there's a lot on growing pains. Before this, I was in sales, which led me to start a residential, like door-to-door and as well as online solar company.
Okay.
And that's what I was doing before. So this is very unique and new. So at the beginning, it's like, okay, well, look at what's out there. What are the existing models? What are the models that are, and Crumble is definitely the industry leader. So it's like, okay, they're competing in this gourmet cookie category, but they're doing it all in-house. And you look at other cookie companies that have been around for decades. You have Mrs. Fields and Great American Cookie Company.
Yeah.
Both started in 1977. So they're coming up on 5 decades. So it's like, well, what are they doing?
Yeah.
And they essentially produce everything. So you could, get economies of scale when you're purchasing your flour, sugar, butter, things like that. So Dirty Dough is kind of marrying the two models. On the back end, it's like a Mrs. Fields or Great American Cookie Company. But on the, consumer facing, it's more competing with Crumble. So at the very beginning, it's like, okay, let's vertically integrate. Let's own it, the manufacturing, the logistics. And that was very expensive, So now we've kind of reversed and we've outsourced all of that. So we're outsourcing the cookie manufacturing and logistics. And that was a big pivot. I mean, that was millions of dollars in, in a few years. And like, okay, maybe we'll get back to that when we have a few hundred locations. I think that was probably one of the biggest pivots. And then right now we're just focusing on adding more products as the market changes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and maybe cookies aren't as hot. I mean, just restaurant sales are down, this year compared to 2 years ago by quite a bit. So we're adding sodas and coffees and ice creams and
Yeah.
edible cookie dough, things like that.
Awesome. Now, my push was for a vegan cookie. I know it's not on the menu yet, but I'm hoping that will be something that
Yes.
shows up in the future.
We did one before.
You did.
Yeah, and we have a gluten friendly as well. The
Okay.
vegan one, when we launched in California, it was like it accounted 2 to 3% of sales. So then we took it off. But as we scale again, once we have maybe 100 or so stores, then we could start bringing in those unique products. Like we had a protein cookie out for a while
Oh,
as
yeah.
well that had 25 grams of protein. Wasn't healthy by any means, but it had 25 grams of protein and it was
But
freaking delicious.
if you're going to cheat, might as well have something in there
Yes,
that, you can hang
it's a
on to.
protein.
So you said something about, do you have a cookie truck or trailer? Did you say?
Yeah, we do mobile franchises as well
Okay.
because again, you're not having to do everything in the trailer. We put 2 ovens in there, you show up to an event
Yeah.
and you're just serving cookies right there. So we have 15 of those in operation right now. Not a huge focus of the business, but it is a great add-on because it serves for great marketing. You go to a fair or carnival or football game and
Yeah.
you see the brand for the first time, you try it. And then if you want it again, where do you go? Well, you have to go to the brick and mortar store, right?
Yeah. So what's the biggest hurdle that you have right now that you're facing? And like what would you want people to know, like either franchise wise or how they can help you?
Um, I'm gonna do the first question first.
Sure.
Biggest hurdle always has been capital, just
Yeah.
raising capital to try to keep up with the growth because you always have to fund what you're not what you're doing today, but what you want to do in 3 months because you always have to be several months ahead in cookie production and buying ingredients and all of that. So kind of constantly raising outside capital has been what I've been doing, man, it's been like 3 years and
Yeah.
I think we're done. I think we're done with it. We got an investment in last week. And we partnered with a management company out of Chicago. They own maybe another dozen brands and brought on the former CEO of Jimmy John's as their CEO, Greg
Oh,
Majewski. And that's the direction I'm headed. It's like, wow, this is growing way faster than my capabilities. So let's continue to bring on people that do have the capacity and the experience to continue to fuel the growth.
was that hard for you to find those people? Or did you just, you know, one person after another to get to that person? What was that process like?
Yeah, I think I attribute it to right out of high school, my first like job interview that I went to, I got
Yeah.
my button up and my tie. It was Cutco knives. And the pitch is, hey, you get 15 bucks an hour or commission, whatever one's higher. So then I go out to friends and family and say, hey, you don't need to buy anything. You just need to listen to me. I'm practicing, right? You just
Yeah.
need to listen to my presentation. I get paid whether you buy it or not. After the presentation, then you say, okay, Trina, who do you know that would be willing to listen to me? Not that would be willing to buy, just willing to listen to me.
Yeah.
And then I need 10 names and you write those 10 names down. And then they train you to say, okay, now start calling them. And when they answer, hand the phone over to me. So it's like, you're going to get it done. And it's all about referrals, 100% referrals. So I think I took that into, finding a good team. Right at the beginning, I found a good advisor
Okay.
that I didn't know what an advisory board was. I thought, so there's a board of directors that run and make the decisions for C Corps. And then, but you can also have a board of advisors that you give them 0.5% to maybe 1.5% of equity over a 2-year vesting period. And you get to just pick their brains, call them whenever you want. So the first guy, he had started a business called InfoSpace.
Mm-hmm.
And when it went public, it was like a $30 billion company. So it's like, this guy's knows how to run companies. And then after that, it was kind of just, he brought on the next advisor, which was the owner of the largest property management company in the nation. And then I was finding another advisor who ended up becoming our first CEO. Her name was Jill Summer-Hayes, and she's president right now, but she was CEO for the first 2 years. She ran a company called Maui Wowie Smooths of Coffee. So yeah, it just kind of, it's like, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know?
Yeah.
And I think I found Greg, not I think, it was just through LinkedIn, just
Yeah.
messaging a million people saying, this is what we're doing. And he got on the phone with me maybe a year and a half ago. And it wasn't a good fit for him to invest at the time, but I brought him on as an advisor, and he served as a very valuable advisor for a year. So January of this year, when it's like, hey, Bennett, I could come and help fix your problems because I'm coming to him out of desperation. Like, what the hell do I do? It's like, I could come do this. The trust had already been there. But yeah, it was just a cold LinkedIn message. But I'm a very big proponent of just telling everybody what you're doing, asking everybody who they know, and just getting on as many phone calls with experts as possible. And it kind of just one leads down to the next. And then you build up this super awesome network to help you in the franchise business continue.
Well, how do you, and I hate to use the word balance, I feel like it's more like, how do you spin the right plates at the right time
Yeah.
with work life spinning and trying to get everything done? Did you lose a lot of sleep? Are you getting sleep? How do you make sure that you take care of yourself, your personal life and work? Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs and they're tired.
Yes. Yeah. I actually have a podcast, and that's what we focus on. It's
Oh,
deeper than
okay.
dough. Yeah, it's deeper than dough, like dough is in money, right? So more than money. And about 6 months into buying Dirty Dough, so I was doing it part-time because I was running a solar company full-time. I exited the solar company. So this was 3 years ago. I'm 31 right now. I was 28 at the time. And I just had this goal, like, I'm going to work myself to death, because once you have $1 million net worth, all your problems go away, right? So that's what I told myself. I got up to 310 pounds. I'm only 5'8". That's pretty big. I have a wife, 3 kids, but I just wasn't focusing because they wanted me to work because they want more money, right? That's what I told myself. Well, when I exited the solar company and I hit that net worth that I was looking for, it felt great for, however long, a few days, a few weeks, I don't know. And then I just went back to my old routine. So at that moment, it kind of triggered, like, okay, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. I'm just going to set a goal, put everything to the side until I hit that goal. And then once I hit the goal, I'm going to enjoy it for a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever. But I'm just going to set the next goal. So at that time, I'm like, nope, I'm going to break the cycle. I started seeing a therapist, which was amazing because it really aligned, I guess, helped me align what I was going for. It's no longer about money, right? Or business or success or a car. It's about the emotion we want to feel once we have the money, business, success, car, whatever. So then it's like, okay, well, let's just narrow into how you want to feel and then go from there. So that has been a big change. Yeah, there is no work-life balance in a sense.
Yeah.
I just, at that point, I'm like, okay, work doesn't matter if I'm not taking care of my health and my family. So
Mm-hmm.
I won't work past 5. I won't work from the weekends. I just got back from Mexico yesterday, and I was there for just over 3 weeks visiting my wife's family. And it's just like, I'm going to always put my family and health first, and then the business will take care of itself or it won't. But either way,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if I don't, so I'm very grateful for that experience, but I kind of just drew a line in the sand, and I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Everything can wait till tomorrow. And if it can't, whatever, it's going to wait anyway.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
far it's working.
That's great. I've been reading a lot about the difference between values and goals. And have you ever heard of a book called The Happiness Trap?
No, I haven't.
It's a very interesting book, but it talks a lot about that, how, human emotions are going to happen and how you deal with them and how you live your values, and the rest will fall into place. And I mean, it sounds like you've been a quick learner and had to be, and it sounds like you're getting things to fall into place. Are you feeling confident with where you're at right now, or do you still feel like you stumble from time to time?
Yes and yes. I'm feeling very confident. I think we just got an investment that we were waiting on last week, and we're expecting
Yay.
profitability moving forward for the first time after, 3
Good.
years of just scrambling. So, but sleep and all of that, I
Yeah.
mean, I have my Aura ring that measures my sleep and my Apple Watch. I double measure it. Um, yes, I'm getting sleep, but yes, it's more stress than I've ever imagined.
Yeah.
And it's a lot to deal with. But again, because that happened 3 years ago, and it kind of set me on that journey. And now, like, I have a professional that I could talk to
Yeah.
that my insurance pays for every week. And I just talk about business. It's just
Yeah.
like, here's where I'm at. Where are the decisions that I should make? You go talk to advisors and it's about money and equity and growth and all that. But it's like, but that's not what I'm after. I'm after
Yeah.
that in order to get something else. But that's just, I mean, it's really just, maybe I'm going to call it a distraction. Like you need to narrow in on how you want to feel. And
Yeah.
that does come down to like a value or mission statement, which in that same process, like I created, which is joy and fulfillment. I
Yeah.
want to feel happy, not every day, because that's impossible. And I want to feel fulfilled, which typically comes from progression. So how do I focus on those things as I make business decisions, as I bring on investors and give out equity? And yeah, I'm a huge proponent. Everybody should be seeing a therapist because they are professionals on
Yeah.
how to help you feel the way you want to feel.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent. What would you say to someone that is embarking on, they're considering entrepreneurship, but they're not sure if they should go at it all on their own or invest in a franchise? What are some of the options or opportunities or reasons to do a franchise?
Uh, Business failures are like, they're very high. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's like 80% over 5 years or something like that. I don't know the stats on franchises, but it's a lot lower. Um, you don't have full freedom though, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, you're not starting from scratch. Like if I were speaking to my kids, I would say, no, no, for sure buy a franchise or partner with somebody and create your own business. But like, don't try to do it all on your own because you don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, right before this call, I'm literally in the shower and I'm just thinking about everything going on and like, oh my gosh, there's so much. I'm so grateful that I was able to surround myself with good advisors, CEOs, executives, because there's no way I would have been able to figure it out. I've just made so many mistakes that I didn't even know were mistakes at the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Let's plug your podcast a little bit more. Tell us the name, where we can find it, and a little more about your guests and whatnot.
Yeah, Deeper Than Dough is the name of the podcast. Been doing it for coming up on 2 years.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, it's just diving into people's journeys on the emotional side though. So it's mainly entrepreneurs, business owners, although there's a wide variety of guests. A lot of people that have had big exits.
Wow.
And then it's like, okay, how did you deal with that emotionally? You know, how did you detach your identity from your business? What is the hardest time emotionally that you've ever had in your life? What did you learn from it? Would you change it? So that's kind of what we dive into, and it's therapy for me.
Yeah.
Just listen
Yeah.
to them. I was like, oh, you guys also struggle with
Yeah.
business? Cool. I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Great. Good. I'm going to go look for it for sure. We've got a store is supposed to be opening here in Springfield, Missouri soon. So we're looking forward to that. Come back anytime. Is there anything else you want to share before we close?
I'm just gonna, I guess, double down on what I went through. Get what if you're buying a franchise or a business or it doesn't matter, but like focus in, dial in how you want to feel on a day-to-day, week-to-week, whatever, and make your decisions based on that. If your goal doesn't have an emotion attached, you're cutting yourself short, because whatever goal you've ever set in your life, you're setting it because you think that you're going to feel a certain way once you achieve it. Narrow down what you want to feel, make that your goal, not the revenue, not the dollar, not the profit, and then laser in on that. Now, you still build your business and you still get your goals and whatever, but if the goal doesn't have an emotion, I don't think it's a complete goal.
Excellent.
That's my last piece of advice.
Good words. Great. Thank you so much for what you're doing. I love the journey you're on. Like I said, if you have any updates, come back anytime. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Trina.
Thanks so much. Be following along. You can listen and link over to whichever platform you want to watch it at runradio.net.